How did a simple ointment, one that's a lot like a well-known home remedy, become the secret weapon for Vinicius, Bellingham, and other top-tier players? Listen, there's no doubt Real Madrid has a serious squad built to maximize success, but sometimes you need all sorts of rituals or mental anchors to improve performance just a bit and bring a player to their next level. One of these small details is a cooling ointment with a very strong scent called Vapor Rub, not sponsored. And its mechanism is very similar to rubbing alcohol on your chest. But for Real Madrid and for many other professional players, this ointment has become a psychological and physiological tool that can give a player that extra 1% in their performance. Let's break it down. The first thing we'll talk about is its mechanism of action and why a player would even rub a substance on his shirt that's actually meant for nasal congestion. The active ingredients in Vapor Rub are camphor, menthol, which is mint, and eucalyptus oil. All three of them together activate cold receptors in the skin and in the respiratory system. This stimulation creates the sensation of open breathing, even if there's no actual physical change. This effect influences the depth of your breathing, your level of arousal, and your level of sharpness. A player feels like they're breathing better, and the brain interprets this as alertness. Additionally, menthol and camphor activate nerve channels that slightly inhibit the sensation of pain. It's not an anti-inflammatory or pain-relieving ointment, but it does cause a slight distraction from the sensation of pain. And for a player who goes onto the field with even a slight hesitation, this can be the difference between a successful play and an unsuccessful one. It's important to understand that Vapor Rub works on the nervous system in a very real way, but what's more important is the feeling it gives the player. And in sports, every millimeter of confidence can become a kilometer of victory. Additionally, it's important to understand the ritualistic element in actions like these. Many athletes adopt routine rituals that give them confidence, and perhaps the most famous among them is Rafael Nadal. When Nadal sits, he arranges his bottles in a specific way, and before every serve, he has a very specific sequence of actions he performs. There are players who touch the grass, kiss a chain, or pray, and this ointment has become part of those rituals. So whether it actually helps physiologically or not, it doesn't really matter, because it creates a transition from a state of rest to a game-ready state. This is called state-dependent performance, meaning the brain performs better when it's in a familiar environment that's known as a successful environment for that activity. And now let's talk about what the research says. Vapor Rub doesn't actually open the airways. But that's not the point, because in those very same studies, the patients report an improvement in their breathing, even if there's no actual physiological change. It increases concentration and neural alertness, and even if it's just a little, it reduces the level of pain. So even though in reality there's no physiological change, patients reported an improvement in alertness, breathing, and a reduction in their level of pain. The feeling is more important than the physical reality. So ultimately, the secret of Vapor Rub or any other ointment isn't in what it is, but in the ritual that it represents. And athletes who understand the power of these small rituals, which prepare the brain for these peak moments, can leverage that to really get even a small improvement. This ointment is just a symbol of something much bigger. A player's ability to get into a competitive state even under pressure, like in a Champions League final, and a small ritual like an ointment can be the tiny difference between victory and defeat. Good luck.